Hi, I'm Katie. 3 years ago, I married Derek Thompson, and I thought I was getting the perfect life. Beautiful house in the suburbs, loving husband, and what I believed was a supportive family. Boy, was I wrong about that last part. Katie, sweetie, you really should learn to cook Derek's favorite meals, Margaret, my mother-in-law, said during one of her unannounced visits. She was rifling through my kitchen cabinets like she owned the place. A wife should know these things. I know how to cook, Margaret. Derek and I share the cooking responsibilities. That's not how we did things in my generation, she sniffed. Richard never had to lift a finger in the kitchen. Did you, dear? Richard looked up from his newspaper. What's that? Oh, yes, your mother took care of everything. That's what marriage is about. Derek walked in, loosening his tie. Hey, Mom, Dad. Didn't know you were coming over. We still have our key, remember? Margaret said, dangling it like a trophy. We wanted to discuss Thanksgiving plans. You'll be coming to our house, naturally. Actually, I started, we were thinking of hosting this year. Nonsense, Margaret cut me off. The Thompson family Thanksgiving has been at our house for 40 years. We're not changing tradition now. Derek squeezed my hand. Mom, we'll talk about it and let you know. Margaret's smile tightened. There's nothing to discuss, Derek. It's already decided. That was 6 months ago. Things had gotten progressively worse since then. Margaret and Richard had keys to our house and used them constantly. They'd show up at all hours, criticizing everything from my housekeeping to my career. Katie, I need to talk to you, my best friend Lisa said over coffee one afternoon. I'm worried about you. Your in-laws are intense. That's putting it mildly. I laughed weakly. But Derek keeps saying they mean well. Do they, though? Last week, Margaret literally went through your mail when I was there. She opened your credit card statement. I know. When I confronted her, she said she was just trying to help us manage our finances better. Lisa shook her head. That's not normal, Katie. That's controlling. I've tried talking to Derek about boundaries, but he just says, that's how my parents are. You'll get used to it. And are you getting used to it? I stared into my coffee. No, it's getting worse. Last Tuesday changed everything. Derek had left for a 3-day business conference. I was working from home when Margaret and Richard let themselves in. Where's Derek? Margaret demanded. Hello to you, too. He's in Chicago for a conference. He'll be back Friday. Richard stepped closer. We need to talk about your influence on our son. My influence? You're making him weak, Margaret hissed. All this nonsense about sharing responsibilities and equal partnership. You're turning him into something he's not. I'm not turning Derek into anything. We're partners. Partners! Richard barked. A wife follows her husband's lead, and a husband listens to his parents. I think you should leave, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We're not going anywhere, Margaret said. We're going to stay here and wait for Derek to call. When he does, we're all going to have a conversation about your attitude. That's not happening. Please leave my house. Richard moved toward me. This isn't your house. This is Thompson family property. We co-signed the mortgage, remember? That doesn't give you the right. Margaret snatched my phone from the counter. You need to learn respect. Give that back. No, she turned to Richard. Check the router. Cut the internet. My stomach dropped. What are you doing? Teaching you a lesson, Margaret said calmly. You're going to sit here and think about how you speak to your elders. Richard disappeared into the office. I heard crashes and thuds. Stop! You can't do this! Margaret gripped my phone tighter. We absolutely can. And we will. Until you learn your place in this family. I lunged for my phone, but she threw it against the wall. It shattered into pieces. Oops, she said, smiling. How clumsy of me. Richard returned, holding the severed internet cable. Done! No Wi-Fi, no landline connection. You're insane, I shouted. I need my phone for work, for emergencies. You should have thought about that before disrespecting us, Margaret said. Now sit down. We're going to wait right here until you apologize and promise to be a better wife to our son. I sat on my couch, Margaret and Richard watching me like prison guards for over an hour. My mind raced. No phone, no internet. They'd destroyed my only ways to contact anyone. I need to use the bathroom, I finally said. Go ahead, Margaret said. But leave the door open. Absolutely not. Fine. Richard, stand outside the door. I went upstairs, Richard's footsteps following. My laptop was in the bedroom, but without internet, it was useless. Think, Katie, think. The bathroom window. It faced Lisa's house next door. I opened the window and looked out. Lisa's car was in her driveway. Thank God. I grabbed my lipstick and wrote on the mirror, "Help, trapped." Then I waved frantically until I saw Lisa's curtain move. 5 minutes later, there was pounding on my front door. Katie, it's Lisa! Open up! I ran downstairs. Margaret blocked the door. We're not accepting visitors, Margaret said. I'm not asking, Lisa shouted. I saw Katie's signal. Open this door or I'm calling the police. You're overreacting, Richard said. We're just having a family discussion. By destroying her phone and cutting her internet, I heard the crash from my house. Margaret's face paled. You don't understand the situation. I understand perfectly. Open the door. Now. They didn't move. Lisa pulled out her phone. I'm calling 911. Wait. Richard lunged for the door handle, but it was too late. Yes, I need police at 47 Maple Drive, Lisa said clearly. My neighbor is being held against her will by her in-laws. They've destroyed her property and are preventing her from leaving. Margaret yanked the door open. Katie, tell her this is a misunderstanding. I pushed past them to Lisa. It's not a misunderstanding. They destroyed my phone and cut my internet so I couldn't call for help. That's a lie, Margaret shrieked. Richard, tell them. We were just trying to have a conversation, Richard said. She's being dramatic. Lisa put her arm around me. The police are on their way. Katie's coming to my house. She most certainly is not. Margaret grabbed my arm. I yanked free. Don't touch me. We're your family, Margaret said. You can't just... Family doesn't imprison people, I said. Family doesn't destroy property to prevent someone from getting help. At Lisa's house, I broke down. They've been getting worse for months, but this is criminal, Lisa said firmly. Destruction of property, false imprisonment. You're pressing charges. Derek will be furious. Derek let this happen by not setting boundaries. This is on him too. The doorbell rang. 2 police officers stood outside. I'm Officer Chen, the female officer said. We received a call about a possible false imprisonment. I explained everything. The months of escalating control, today's destruction of my phone and internet, being watched and prevented from leaving. Do you have evidence of the destroyed phone? Officer Chen asked. It's still at my house, smashed on the kitchen floor. And they admitted to cutting your internet connection? They were holding the cable when I escaped. My neighbor heard them threaten me. Lisa nodded vigorously. I heard everything through the wall. They said they were teaching her a lesson and wouldn't let her have her phone back. Officer Chen exchanged looks with her partner. We need to document the scene. Are they still at the house? Unless they ran when they saw you coming. Let's go take a look. We walked back to my house. Margaret and Richard were in their car in the driveway arguing. That's them, I said. Officer Chen approached their vehicle. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, we need to speak with you about an incident that occurred here today. Margaret rolled down her window, all sweetness. Officer, this is just a family misunderstanding. Our daughter-in-law is prone to dramatics. Ma'am, we need you to step out of the vehicle. This is ridiculous, Richard said. We're her family. We have every right to be here. Not if you're destroying property and preventing someone from leaving against their will, Officer Chen said. Step out, please. Inside my house, Officer Chen photographed my shattered phone on the kitchen floor. Her partner documented the severed internet cable in the office. This is deliberate destruction, Officer Chen said. And you're saying they did this to prevent you from calling for help? Yes. They said I needed to learn my place and that we'd all wait here until I apologized and promised to be a better wife. Margaret burst in, followed by Richard and the other officer. That's completely out of context. We were trying to help her understand marriage. By destroying her property? Officer Chen asked. It was an accident, Margaret insisted. The phone slipped. And the internet cable? I asked. Did that slip too when you deliberately cut it? We were trying to limit distractions, Richard said, so we could have a real conversation. Officer Chen looked at me. Miss Thompson, do you want to press charges? Absolutely. Katie, no, Margaret gasped. We're family. Family doesn't imprison people. Family doesn't destroy their property. Family doesn't terrorize them in their own home. We were not terrorizing you. Margaret's voice rose. We love you. We were trying to make you a better wife for our son. By trapping me? By taking away my phone so I couldn't call for help? That's not love, Margaret. That's control. Richard stepped forward. Now you listen here. No, you listen, I said, my voice shaking but firm. For 3 years, I've tolerated your constant intrusions, your criticism, your demands, your keys to my house. I tried to be patient. I tried to accommodate you, but this crosses every line. We have a right to be involved in our son's life, Margaret said. Being involved doesn't mean destroying property and holding people hostage. We didn't hold you hostage, Richard shouted. You were free to leave any time. After you destroyed my phone and cut my internet? I laughed bitterly. You made sure I had no way to call for help before telling me I couldn't leave until I apologized. We never said you couldn't leave, Margaret said quickly. Lisa stepped forward. I heard you, through the wall. You told Katie she needed to sit and think about her attitude and that you'd all wait right here until she learned her lesson. You're twisting our words, Margaret said. No, I said. You're trying to rewrite what happened now that the police are here, but it's too late. Officer Chen has seen the evidence. She's heard from witnesses. Katie, please. Margaret's tone shifted to pleading. We're sorry, we got carried away. We just worry about Derek so much and we thought you could control me. You thought you could force me to submit by trapping me in my own home. It wasn't like that. Margaret was crying now. We love you. We want what's best for our family. Then you should have treated me like family instead of a problem to solve. We can fix this, Richard said. We'll replace your phone. We'll apologize to Derek. I don't want your apologies, I said. I don't want your money. I want you prosecuted for what you did. You're making a huge mistake, Margaret said, her tears drying instantly. Derek will never forgive you for this. Then Derek and I will have a serious conversation about what kind of man stays married to someone who presses charges against his parents for criminal behavior. Because if he chooses you over me after what you did, then I've already lost him anyway. You ungrateful little... Richard started forward, fist raised. Officer Chen stepped between us. Sir, I strongly suggest you don't finish that sentence or that movement. Richard froze, his face purple with rage. That's assault, Officer Chen said. You just threatened violence in front of 2 police officers. I wasn't going to actually hit her, Richard said. You raised your fist and moved toward her aggressively. That's assault. Miss Thompson, do you feel threatened? Yes, I said. I absolutely do. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind. Margaret and Richard were charged with destruction of property, false imprisonment, and Richard faced an additional assault charge for the threatening gesture. Derek came home early from his conference after I finally reached him through Lisa's phone. Katie, what the hell happened? Derek said, finding me at Lisa's house. Your parents destroyed my phone and internet to trap me in our house. They said they were teaching me a lesson about being a proper wife. His face went white. They what? I told him everything. Every detail. Every word. Oh my God, he whispered. Katie, I'm so sorry. I knew they were overbearing, but I never thought... They've been escalating for months, Derek. And every time I tried to talk to you about it, you told me to just deal with it because that's how they are. I know. I was wrong. So wrong. He grabbed my hands. Please come home. We'll change the locks. They'll never set foot in our house again. It's not that simple. I've pressed charges. They're facing criminal prosecution. Good, he said firmly. They should. What they did was insane. Your mother says you'll never forgive me. My mother is delusional. You did the right thing. I should have protected you from them long ago. The preliminary hearing was 3 weeks later. Margaret and Richard sat with their lawyer, both looking older and smaller than I remembered. Their lawyer approached me in the hallway. "Mrs. Thompson, my clients would like to speak with you. They want to apologize and see if we can resolve this outside of court." "No," I said simply. "They're very sorry for what happened. They've agreed to pay for all damages, replace your phone, repair your internet connection. I don't want their money. I want them to face consequences. Mrs. Thompson, please reconsider. They're elderly. A criminal conviction could what? Make them think twice before trapping someone in their home again? Before destroying property to control someone? Good. That's exactly what should happen." Margaret appeared behind her lawyer. "Katie, please. I'm begging you. We made a terrible mistake. We got carried away." "You didn't get carried away, Margaret. You planned it. You waited until Derek was gone. You took my phone and cut my internet deliberately. You knew exactly what you were doing. We just wanted what was best for our son. No, you wanted control. And when you couldn't control me through manipulation, you tried force." "I'm sorry," Margaret sobbed. "Please drop the charges. We'll never contact you again. We'll give back the house key. We'll stay away." "You should have stayed away before you committed crimes in my home." Richard joined her. "You're destroying our family. Derek will resent you forever for this." "Derek is here supporting me, Richard. Where you should be is in therapy, learning that your behavior was completely unacceptable." "We're his parents," Richard said. "He owes us respect. And I'm his wife. He owes me protection from people who imprison me." The prosecutor approached. "We're ready to proceed. Mrs. Thompson, are you prepared to testify?" "Yes." Margaret grabbed my arm. "Please, Katie, we'll do anything. Just drop this." I removed her hand gently but firmly. "There's nothing you can do. You crossed a line you can never uncross. You committed crimes. Now you face the consequences." The trial resulted in convictions on all charges. Margaret and Richard received suspended sentences, probation, mandatory anger management classes, and a permanent restraining order keeping them at least 500 feet from me. Derek and I changed our locks, installed security cameras, and started marriage counseling to address the damage his parents had caused to our relationship. "I'm proud of you," Lisa said over coffee 6 months later. "You didn't let them bully you." "I almost did," I admitted. "I almost dropped the charges when Margaret cried and apologized." "But you didn't. You held firm." "Because apologies don't undo what they did. And accepting their apology would have told them, and Derek, that what they did was forgivable. It wasn't." "How are things with Derek?" "Better. Counseling is helping. He's understanding why boundaries matter now. He sees how his enabling nearly destroyed our marriage." "And his parents?" "Still trying to contact him. He blocks their new numbers every time." "Think they've learned their lesson?" I smiled grimly. "I think they've learned that I'm not someone who can be controlled or intimidated. And that's lesson enough." "Have you ever had in-laws who overstepped boundaries? How did you handle it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more real-life revenge stories.